Welcome back to Overtime Fantasy, where we go beyond the whistle to bring you home a fantasy championship. I'm Mike Kinder. I'm here with Tyler Jeffries and Daniel Hudgens. Phil Corella is on scout team once again.
Get him chopping.
Is he on the sick team or the scout team?
Oh, no, he's on the scout team because I was on the sick team. Y'all still told me I was on the scout team.
You're always on scout team.
Told me I couldn't run suicides. You don't think I listened to the podcast?
Well, I know I can't run suicides. But what was that thing called? What was that?
Painting lines.
Painting lines. Yeah, I can barely paint lines in my house. No, I ain't doing
Worst. Like the worst feeling in the world is like when your wife comes at you like, you know what? I was thinking, and then like that right there, you're just like, oh man, please be something good. Like, please be like, I was thinking you should go to the bar and hang out with all your friends.
Oh yeah.
You know, but it's never that. It's always like, I was thinking we redesign the kitchen and paint and like that's the worst feeling in the world. It's like, man, no.
It's like, oh yeah, that sounds good, but in your mind it's like,
that sounds awesome
damn.
in theory. Like, I would love for the kitchen to be redesigned, but I don't want to be the guy that does
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Tyler is still not there yet.
He's in the pre-stages, right?
Yeah, he's building the foundation, him and Madeline. He's building the foundation.
Shout out Madeline.
Yeah, shout out to Madeline. That's his
She'll
first
never
shout
listen.
out. You just got to fast forward to it. It's like, hey, look, you got a shout out on the radio.
Look, we'll get another listen on this podcast too. Tell her we shout her out.
Right? Yeah.
I'll be listening to it in the car, like while her and her friends are like, I'm driving them around to bars. They're like, "Are you on the radio?" I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Hey, quiet.
They were like, dude, you sound like crap.
Madeline's like, "Turn that damn thing off and play some music." I don't know who Brock Osweiler is.
So he's building the foundation. He's got about another 4 to 5 years before Madeline comes up to him and says, "You know what? I was thinking," and he's gonna be like, he's gonna have a flashback to this moment right here, like, "Oh, the guys were right. Like, this is terrible." No, it's not bad. It's
Yeah, dude, you're gonna get kicked out the house, bro.
yeah.
Like,
She's
Kim's gonna listen to this, and
she's not going to listen to this. 2, she might be hearing this right now, and then
Yeah,
that's where I'm getting kicked out of the house.
She's listening right now. We're doing this from. Hold on, guys. 5 seconds. We're going outside.
Like, where's Kinder? Why isn't he on the podcast anymore? Because Kim heard him. Oh no. So we have today in our podcast world. First of all, if you're listening to this, go ahead and follow us, like us, subscribe. You know, get our notifications when we post out a new podcast every week. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go to www.overtimefantasy.com. You know, all of our social media is up there in the upper right-hand corner. You can click on it. It'll take you directly to our Twitter, our Instagram, our Facebook, our SoundCloud, our YouTube channel, everything. So go ahead and go to overtimefantasy.com and check that out. But today, our lineup, we're going to talk about last night's game a little bit. I stayed up once again to the very last click of the clock.
It was a nail biter.
It was a good one.
It was a Seattle Seahawks, New England Patriots flashback.
Yeah. Yes, it was. But yeah, so we're going to talk about last night's game, then we're going to talk about the starts and sits, and then Dan Hudgens has a nice little fantasy stud of the past for us. So in this fantasy stud of the past, how about you give us a little hint right here early? Is it a one-game stud or is it a season-long stud?
it is a season-long stud.
All right.
I'm not even going that far back, but he's not. I don't even think he's on a team right now.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, let's go ahead and jump into last night's game. Tyler, did you get to watch it all?
Yes, I watched it all.
Yeah. So when I talk about watching all the game, like I'm talking about like last night. Sometimes I haven't done it yet this year, but last year I would I had the pass, the
Game Pass.
Yeah, the Game Pass where I'd watch the games like the next day. But like tonight, this year, for some reason, I'm staying up all night, and I was like, even the one that got delayed and went into like midnight.
Oh, that was Tampa and Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible.
I watched that one all the way to the last click of the clock, and ended up still turning around, getting up at 2:30 in the morning. So it's been rough. I don't know what it is about me this year. Like, I can't go to sleep when the games are on. So that's what we mean when we go beyond the whistle. Like, we're getting just a couple hours of sleep just to get you guys all the news and information that you need.
Minus the Monday game this week. You can go to sleep. It's just Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
That'd be a good one, man. That's a divisional matchup.
I mean, battle of the future backups.
So, real fast, that opening, that first injury to Jamal Williams was brutal. And what really upset me was, like, this morning, all you heard about was, like, Devontae Adams' little turf toe.
Little turf toe.
I'm like, how is Jamal Williams doing? Why can't we find anything on him? And it come out to say that he's okay and everything. Like, I'm sure he's going to be in concussion protocol for a while, but at least he's okay.
That was a dirty hit.
Yeah, that was rough, man.
That was dirty.
He was it was ugly. Like, I felt, you saw, like, the life go out of him after that hit. Like, that was rough.
That's the type of hit, like, when you see it, you fall back.
Uh-huh.
You're just like, oh, God.
I react. So, like, it drives Kim nuts because, like, I'll be sitting on the couch and, like, a big hit or something, or, like, and most of the time it's stuff like people don't see, like it's a pancake block or something, and I'll sit there and I'll just go, ow! And, like, she's like, God, would you stop that? Like, Logan's sleeping. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, Logan's sleeping right now.
Good job. That's right. That's right. I probably woke him up, but you know, so I react to all those type of things. But with that one there, like, my reaction wasn't so much excitement. It was more like a, ooh, gosh.
Yeah.
So,
we got to dive into this.
Yeah.
So, Aaron Rodgers, the last 2 games, has come out the first half on fire. Just lighting it up the last 2 games. Second half, he's nowhere to be found. He goes, search and rescue mode because we can't find him anywhere.
Well, it's really nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. It's the game script. Like, Aaron Jones is running all over the place, man. Like, there's really no reason for Aaron Rodgers to step in there and, try to save the day.
I'm glad that you said that because, he's running all over the place. And then all of a sudden you're on the 1 yard line and you do 4 pass plays.
Yeah, that was dumb.
I'm sorry. 3 pass plays and a quarterback keeper.
Yeah. Like, it just, they should have ran the ball. They should have, and that's what the Browns did against the Rams.
Yeah.
That upset me. Like, you're right there and you're not going to give the ball at least once to your running back? Come on.
Yeah, so, and they did it, they at the end of the game, Seattle all over again.
And the difference between Seattle, Cleveland, and Green Bay is Green Bay's been in that position 100 times, and that's what they do. Aaron Rodgers saves the day.
Yeah, 60. I think it was something like he had like 60-something touchdowns to 0 interceptions. That was his first interception he's thrown in the 3-yard line.
Yeah. So that's the big difference. When Seattle did it in the Super Bowl, it was dumb because Marshawn Lynch is your dude, and that's the game plan that you guys do. You guys run the ball. That's what happens. That's just the way it was. So, but Aaron Rodgers looked good. That one drive, like, that's what's driving me nuts with the Green Bay offense. Because it was either the first or second game, they just had this one drive that went, like, straight down the field, got a touchdown. It was an incredible drive. And then, like, last night, they had the same thing. Like, there were 60 seconds left on the clock, and they scored in 50 seconds with no timeouts or anything. Like, it's just boom, 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 drive down the field, touchdown.
And then they struggle the rest of the game.
Yeah. And like, how are you doing what you want at will in one section of the game and struggling so bad the rest of the game?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think if it's a connection between LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers, I really don't know what's happening there. It scares me just because he did it in Minnesota last week where he had a great first half. He was nowhere to be found the next half.
Yep.
He's done it again this week. It's getting scary. He puts up the stats, but he's also, I don't think he doesn't, it looks like he doesn't care when he turns the ball over anymore. Like, it used to be like he was fired up and like go out there. And now he's just like,
he
just
cares,
like, it is what it is.
Because the first thing that you see him do is you see him look up at the Jumbotron. Like, he's trying to see, okay, what went wrong? How do I correct it? Like, he's so, like, into the game to where it's like, all right, that was on me. What do I do to correct this? Like, that's what he's doing.
Okay.
He's not going to get emotional about it right now. Like he's, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Like, he's just going to figure out how to get better and how to stop that from happening in the future.
What do you think about this game, Dan?
Yeah, hey Dan, how you doing, everybody?
Doing good.
That was good. We had a moment there, Tyler.
Well, I just want to know his opinion because he had just traded for Devontae Adams the day prior.
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah, and
was it prior or the day of?
I think it was the day prior.
Oh, okay.
Day prior.
All right.
And oh man, Devontae Adams got fed, and early and often too. He got hurt. Got the turf toe. They say that it's not serious, so that is, definitely a relief off of Devontae Adams owners. Here's the thing. I think Aaron Rodgers came out and said that we need to get Devontae Adams the ball more. We need to get Jimmy Graham involved. And guess what? Those were the leading receptions for the Packers last night. So
I think he needs to give Marquez Valdez-Scantling the ball more.
Well, yeah.
I had him last night in a PPR. He didn't do anything.
Oh, yeah, that's a bummer. Allison, he had a good game. He actually made
Allison had that
drive.
One. Yeah.
It was a very impressive touchdown catch, and that catch before it was a really impressive catch.
Yeah.
I tell you, Jordan Howard. Me and you talk. I had him left for dead. Like, I did not want anything to do with him. He came out and he looked better than Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders looked pretty good too, but Miles Sanders wasn't involved in the passing game.
Jordan Howard looked like the guy he looked like the veteran, and Miles Sanders looked like the rookie. Like, that's the way it should have been in the first 3 games, and it wasn't looking that way. It looked like they were both just like, I don't know. Like, Miles Sanders looked a lot better than Jordan Howard up until last night.
Right. So, looking at the Packers overall, their defense, there's a lot of talk about the improvements they made, but if you look at their rushing defense, they've already allowed 5 rushing touchdowns this year. So, the only team that really shut down was the Bears week 1. But look at Dalvin Cook, crushed them. Phillip Lindsay crushed them. Now, Jordan Howard. And, really, the Eagles just crushed them. So, moving forward, like, running backs that play the Packers, I think that's a team you just target.
A start. Like, that's a must
absolutely.
start. Yeah,
absolutely.
I like that.
Well, if you look at it from last night, Jordan Howard looked really good, but Miles Sanders had better yards per carry.
Yes.
And the only reason it stood out so different was Jordan Howard had those 2 touchdowns, which is big. He was utilizing the passing game more, like Dan was saying. So, did he have 2 rushing and 1?
Yeah. Two rushing and 1 receiving.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So, but that's where he was utilized. If you look at it, let me see. Jordan Howard had 15 carries for 87 yards, but Miles Sanders had 11 carries for 72 yards.
Yeah.
So if you break that down more, he carried him per carry. So
per carry. And here's the thing: that happens a lot when you have your bruiser, and then you put in your change of pace back. Your change of pace back usually gets a few more yards. Because that's what they're used for. They're used to, change the pace, have a different look out there, and they usually do have a more yards per carry. But if you put them in that same role, I would like to see what Miles Sanders could do in that same role that Jordan Howard played last night.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Miles Sanders would be bad. I think he would be good at it.
Yeah.
But I would like to see the difference in yards per carry at that point.
Carson Wentz looked good last night. He had one of them weird games where he threw for over 3. He threw 3 touchdowns, but had less than 200 yards.
They didn't need to pass. It was just
It's a weird. That's every time I see that stat line where a quarterback has 3 touchdowns, I'm expecting at least 250 yards.
Yeah.
He had when you have 180 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. It's just so it blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's still a very serviceable game. It's not.
Yep.
It's definitely start worthy. If you throw, in my opinion, more than 2 touchdowns, it's going to be a start worthy game. In my opinion. Looking at the Packers' rush defense again, they're averaging 5 yards a carry, which is that's not gonna. In real life football, that's not going to win you many games.
No,
I know they're 3-0, or they're 3-1 now, but they got to get that right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that was basically most of the takeaways that we talked about. We talked about. I don't think we talked about Jimmy Graham yet. You know, he had a good game. He finally. Oh yeah, we did. Tyler brought it up and everything. But yeah, last night it was a heck of a game though. It come down to the wire. It come down. I really enjoyed watching it. It was fun to watch with the scoring and everything. So
yeah, having Devontae Adams not on the field. Last year he led the league in red zone targets. So I know that definitely played a factor in, them turning the ball over. Because Aaron Rodgers looks for Devontae Adams every time he gets down there.
Yes, I agree. I definitely agree with that. One more stat that I think that we kind of have to bring up is the Eagles versus rushing attacks.
Yes.
Nasty.
We have to bring that up.
Nasty.
So real fast, Darius Geis, week 1, had 10 rushes for 18 yards, 0 touchdowns. Devontae Freeman, week 2, 11 rushes for 22 yards, 0 touchdowns. Kerryon Johnson, who, the first two, those are people that you got late in the draft. Kerryon Johnson was a second round, third round, early third round pick. Kerryon Johnson, 20 rushes, 36 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then last night, Aaron Jones, who has been one of the best in the league so far, who's been just killing it, had 13 rushes, 21 yards, and 1 touchdown.
I just want everybody to realize that is less than 2 yards a carry for each one of those running backs.
Yeah.
And only 2 touchdowns.
So to kind of break that down, that's 54 rushes for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns through 4 games. That is bonkers.
That is crazy because they haven't even hit 100 yards rushing against them.
Now that's not their backup. That is just starting. That is just the start.
I'm talking about starters. I don't care about about backups.
Ito Smith crushed him for 8 carries for 30 yards. You didn't mention that.
Yeah. But I'm just talking about the starting, the number one
running back for each
team. That's their stats.
That's an insane stat line.
Yeah.
Best
97 yards total. Come on.
Best rushing defense in the league right there.
Right now, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, on the flip side of what you were saying about Green Bay's defense, Philadelphia's defense, if you got a questionable running back, I don't know if I'd put him out there.
No.
True.
So let's go ahead and move on to these starts and sits. Let's pick up the pace here and move on so that way we're not running over an hour here.
No, it was a good discussion.
Yeah, it was. It was a good talk. Let's go ahead with the quarterback starts. What do you got starting here, Tyler?
Yeah, I really.
All right, Jacoby Brissett. Let's move on. No, you go ahead and talk about it.
Jacoby Brissett against Oakland. I told y'all last week. I said he was going to have 250 and 2 touchdowns. He had close to 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
and that was against Atlanta, who going into that game was the best passing defense in the league. And a lot of people didn't realize that because the only reason I knew that is because I have a lot of Falcons fans that were talking a lot of crap before the game. And I think Jacoby going against Oakland at Indianapolis, he's a very, with some shaky starts at quarterbacks we're going to get into later. He's a guy that you can plug in there. Now,
do you still stand behind that with T.Y. Hilton being out?
Yes.
Okay.
I think with T.Y. going out, you're going to see Paris Campbell, you're going to see Deion Kane, but I think you're going to see Ebron a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's where...
The first time you brought up Jacoby Brissett, I think we all kind of laughed at you. And it's getting to the point now where, you can almost...
right.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm thinking it's getting to the point now where we can almost stop talking. Because he's on the cusp right there of... Man, do I start him? Do I not?
He's a solid streamer for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely a solid streamer, and he's almost to the point where he's like a week in and week out start.
He's averaging about.
He's having a good year so far.
Like 200, almost 250 yards, and he has 2.5 touchdowns a game.
Yeah,
so,
and Dan and I talked about that in our last podcast about Jacoby Brissett.
I didn't listen that far.
Yeah, we know you didn't.
You just. Listen to where we talk
crap about it, and then he turned it off.
Yeah.
I hate these guys.
Went out and did painting the lines.
All right, so what about you, Dan? What do you got starting here at quarterback?
I got Matt Stafford. I'm starting him in a few leagues. They're at home against the Chiefs, and crazy. I don't even know if you can call this a stat, but Pat Mahomes. This is the first time he's played in a dome in his NFL career.
Are you serious?
I am. Totally serious.
I have a hard time believing it. I'd have to stat check you.
Dude, while you look that up, but just imagine the amount of points that's going to be scored with the Chiefs playing in a dome. And, I mean, Stafford's going to have to throw the ball to keep up. I know Kerryon Johnson is going to be involved with the running attack, and the Chiefs they've kind of struggled a little bit this year. But I think Stafford is going to be a very good play. I'm playing him over guys like Kyler Murray and Josh Allen and you know, some along those like Jared Goff. I'm playing Stafford over like guys like that.
Okay. What do you got, Kender?
I'm still checking here. Oh no, he played at the Cowboys November 5th.
No, he didn't.
Chiefs at Cowboys November 5th.
Oh yeah, the Cowboys got the retractable, right? Don't they got a retractable?
They do have something, but it's I've been in that stadium and it's not much. Like it's pretty much.
Dan said the roof
even
was
if it's open.
Dan said the roof was open. That's not a closed dome. He's saying this is a fully closed dome, Kender.
Isn't Reliant Stadium? Isn't it? Is it a dome? Reliant? The Texans?
No.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
did they play last year?
Look, I didn't mean to debunk your whole thing. Yeah, they played last year.
They did okay.
Good job, Kender.
Hold on.
Kender,
I'm wrong on all these. This is 2017. I typed in 2018.
Okay, I was like, hold on, I can't, because I remember when the Chiefs played the NFC East, because the Redskins played Alex Smith. It was a Monday night game, and I remember that. Yeah, they didn't play the Cowboys last year.
Yeah, that's my bad. My bad. You know, world. I will. I think Tyler's gonna look it up. Why I talked about
they played the NFC West last year, because I remember
I'm not
it was
looking that
either
up.
Sunday night or Monday night game where they played the Seahawks. It was late in the year. Yeah, they played.
Dan's already looked up that stat. He's the one that said it.
Yeah. So that is a crazy stat. Like never played in a dome. This is Patrick Mahomes' first time playing in a dome. That is insane.
Yeah.
No wind.
That's crazy.
So he's going to be able to throw a ball.
I would like to see. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be any different. I honestly don't think it's going to be any different.
If it is different, like holy crap!
Hold on, let's just put it
I
this
don't
way.
think you can play better than that.
If
I don't
it
know if
is
you can.
different, Kansas City's going to be building a dome stadium next year.
Yes.
All of a sudden, Kansas City's got a GoFundMe page.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
Where it's
like
going to be 300 foot in the air because he has to lob that ball up somehow.
All right, so I want to talk about Phillip Rivers playing Miami. If you got Phillip Rivers, you have to start him, unless you have Patrick Mahomes. Like, if Phillip Rivers is a question to you, start him 100%.
yeah. Looking at the Cowboys, you got me thinking about Cowboys. The Dolphins, opposing quarterbacks are averaging almost 300 yards, and they have a total of 10 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Gee,
Where on the flip side, the Dolphins quarterbacks, 532 yards total passing, 1 touchdown, 6 picks. How? Oh my!
that's insane.
That sucks.
Yes, it
That
does.
does. But yeah, Phillip Rivers. How does he not just have even just a decent game? You know, I mean, the floor is there for him. You know.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, Miami's struggling this year. They're rebuilding right now, so
Yep.
time to take advantage of it any chance you can in fantasy.
Yes. Guy you could talk about streaming's Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones,
Yeah,
Case Keenum is another streamer.
That game right there, you could.
That whole game, yeah.
So just stream it. I mean, it's going to be such a bad game. I mean, people are going to just be wide open. I mean, there might be 100 total points scored in this game.
Let's not forget
I'm joking,
Oh.
Dan.
I was going to say
Don't
110.
get your hopes up.
It is a divisional matchup, so that's another thing to remember. But
I mean, have you ever met a quarterback that's got a nickname after one start? We're talking about Danny Dimes here.
Danny Dimes. All right, let's go into the quarterback sits. What do you got, Tyler?
What I've got is Tom Brady.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah. Against Buffalo.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
I honestly, I don't feel like you can start. I don't feel like you can sit Tom Brady this year.
Well, what I'm going to say about this is the Buffalo Bills, how you beat them is your running attack.
Yeah.
You don't beat them over. They have the best passing defense in the league. And Tom Brady, last year, I believe he struggled against the Bills at Bills. This is at Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I think what you're going to see here is I could see Brady not even getting a passing touchdown.
Here, so you talked about last year. My argument with that is I feel like Tom Brady is a new person this year. Like, he's so accurate. Like, he is so... I don't know. Like, I said it after the first game. I said that they're going undefeated, and he's just got this... He's on a mission, man. Like, I don't feel like at any point in the season you could even comfortably sit Tom Brady. Just because, like I said, I seen it in his eyes. He looked me dead in the eyes, and I just saw it. That man is on a mission, and he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year, dude.
I'm not disputing that
Yeah.
at all.
And
What I'm saying is he's playing in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo has the best passing defense.
Yep.
I can see Brady not having a touchdown this week, and this is going to be one of the. This is not saying that he's going to have a bad year all year. This is just one game.
Yeah. Oh, I'm fine with that. And you know, the stats are there to kind of to prove that. I just don't. I feel like Brady's going to find a way to pick them apart.
Yeah, see,
Like, I think Brady will be the outlier to the Buffalo Bills' defense. Is it Buffalo Bills' or Buffalo Bills' defense?
Bills. The Bills.
I know.
Buffalo Bill.
I just had to ask because I said Buffalo Bills.
Like
And I felt
last
like a dum-dum.
Last year, it's a crazy stat. Like he had a decent fantasy game, but he did not throw a touchdown
Yeah.
in Buffalo. He had 320 yards. He did not have one passing touchdown.
All right.
Yeah, I think the Patriots are kind of banged up a little bit. I know Edelman is questionable this week. He's in line to play. Rex Burkhead is banged up. Now, if they still had Antonio Brown, I mean, I feel like Brady just cannot get. You can't take him out the lineup.
Yeah, no. If they had Brown, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But with all the injuries happening, and the last time that they played him, he threw 126 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I think this is a week Brady's going to have a bad game, and this is going to be his only bad game of the season.
All right.
And they're going to still win and go 16-0.
So let's move on. What do you have, Dan? Who you sitting?
I'm doing Jameis Winston against the Rams. He's going to L.A.
Yeah.
And I looked up a stat that when the Rams when they field Aqib Talib when he's starting, opposing quarterbacks average less than 1 touchdown per game against the Rams defense. When he's out of the lineup, they average 2 touchdowns a game.
Wow.
So just the difference that he makes, it's crazy. It's almost like, let me not say he has just as big as impact as Donald, but in the secondary side, I mean, he makes a huge difference. And Winston's coming off a great game against the Giants. Let's not forget that they're not good. They're terrible. So let's not look at this game and say, okay, he's back on track, because the Rams are going to be. I mean, they've been tough all year so far with their passing defense. So I'm benching Jameis.
Yeah. I gotta agree with you on that, man. Like that Rams, the front line, like, you don't realize how fast these guys get off the ball until when they were playing the Browns and one of the defensive linemen jumped off sides. Like, as quick as he got off the ball, like, I was like, holy cow, like, awesome for the flag, but did you guys see how fast he just got off the ball? These guys are so fast, and as soon as that ball is snapped, they are in the offensive line's lap and making moves, and Aaron Donald is just a freak of nature, and I love watching him play the game. I don't care if the game ties at 0-0. If Aaron Donald's playing the game, I'm just so fascinated with how good and how fast and how strong and how big he is and how he uses all that to his advantage. It is ridiculous.
Sounding like Dan when he talks about Mitch Trubisky.
Like I'm over here drooling. No. My sit, this is the last time we're talking about the guy. We talked about this as we went through and started writing everybody down. Kirk Cousins. You sit him this week.
You drop him.
And you don't, yeah. So I'm dropping him. I'm not there. There's not a chance he'll ever be on my team. But if you have him and you're like, oh, well, he might be, bench him and give him 2 weeks of doing something good. You know, before you put him back in your lineup, he's got to do something good 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, the Vikings are running more than 60% of the time. and the Bears. Look, they're just nasty all the way around. So don't even think about playing Cousins. Not even in DFS, FanDuel.
Yeah.
No,
you can pick up anybody that he might be the worst quarterback this week.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean,
other than Josh Rosen.
yeah.
But what I'm saying, Kirk Cousins this is the last time he's talked about on this podcast as far as starts and sits, because there's no chance he's ever going to be in the start column, and he's just a every week sit. Like, you don't start him. You're like, 1 week, I don't know when, but 1 week he's going to have a good game. That following week, if he has another good game, then okay, we might bring him back into the podcast.
I'm going to find a week we start him. That's my mission.
That's your mission. And you better be dead right on that one, because we're making a bet, whatever it is.
All right.
All right, so moving on, we also have Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield that we're talking about sitting as well. Baker's going against
Baltimore.
He's going against Baltimore. They got a good defense, man. Josh Allen is going against
the New England Patriots.
That's why we need you, man. Like, you don't understand how, like, we need you too, Tyler. Don't give me that look. But, like, as soon as, like, we spit out a team, Dan's over there to tell us who they're playing against that week. I don't know how he does it. It's like a Rolodex that he's got in his brain.
That's all I do at work.
He's in 30 different leagues. He literally has every player at least in one league.
That is almost true.
Almost true. So, you definitely start. You definitely sit. I'm saying sit Baker and sit Josh Allen.
Yeah, the Patriots, they will game plan for Josh Allen. Like,
oh, yeah.
I know that they're at home. And the Bills are going to come out hungry. They're 3-0. They want to win. This is almost a must-win for them, because if they want to win this division, they got to win this game. So, having said all that, no.
Sorry, Josh. Grab some bench. Speaking of, let's go to starting running backs. Speaking of Josh Jacobs, my start of the week.
He's going to crush your Colts, huh?
He's going against the Colts. Colts give up the 5th most rushing points to running backs. Josh Jacobs is going to eat, I believe. And Oakland's, offensive line is not that bad. So I think where the Colts defense is good in the passing, game, they're horrible in the rushing game. And I could see Josh Jacobs having 80 yards and a touchdown. Maybe 2.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I know he's coming off that illness. He had this illness a couple weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's now getting himself back to what he was before. Because they said he lost like a lot of weight when he got sick. Yeah, they said it was like 10 to 15 pounds.
Holy smoke!
He's faster.
Yeah, he's lighter. He's lighter.
On a new diet. I like him, man. I like Josh Jacobs. I wish they'd involve him more in the passing game. I mean, he only got like 1 catch, I think, the past 2 weeks, which isn't what owners were expecting when they drafted him. They drafted him kind of high, but I think he's a solid start this week.
Yeah. Person I'm starting this week is Adrian Peterson, if you have him, or even Christian Thompson. Phil says Christian Thompson.
It is Chris Thompson.
It gets me every time. It's Chris Thompson.
And didn't he go to Florida State?
I don't know where he went. Look it up. Stat check
this is where we need Phil.
But it is not Christian Thompson. I don't know why. Like, Phil just beat that into my brain, I guess. Chris Thompson. I prefer Adrian Peterson. Are you against that, Tyler? Or?
I think Chris Thompson is a decent flex starter. Adrian Peterson, I like this week too. They're going against the Giants.
Do you like AP more than Thompson?
I think they're going to be split.
Really? Okay.
I think I'd play AP over Chris Thompson.
I would probably play him slightly over just because he's the main rusher.
If for some reason you had both of them, would you start both of them? You'd have to be hurting at running back.
No.
You'd have to be hurting.
God,
no. I would probably put Adrian
You'd better be in a
Peterson
32-team league.
Yeah. But the thing is the Giants could start off hot all of a sudden. I don't know how they would, but they could just start off hot.
Hey, Danny Dimes.
It's a passing game all of a sudden. Chris Thompson is the guy.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson's not going to be utilized in the passing game, so
not as much at least. Yeah, I like AP more than Thompson. But if you got Chris Thompson, there's no reason not to start him. Moving on, what do you think, Dan?
Shady McCoy. This game is going to be a lot of scoring. I believe he is going to be active. Honestly, I mean, we could have put Darrell Williams as well because he had a very solid week last week. But if Shady McCoy is active, I would be playing him. I'd play him confidently. I know that the Lions, their rushing defense, I'll say, has been better since they acquired Snacks Harrison. Is that right?
Oh, big old Snacks.
Snacks Harrison.
That was last year.
Look at Dan.
Oh yeah.
Look at Dan. No, in a little bit.
But yeah, look, the Chiefs are gonna put up points. Shady is I think he's gonna get his. He's gonna be a solid flex play in my opinion. Start him confidently.
All right, and who's the other person you want to talk about, Dan?
Carlos Hyde against the Carolina Panthers. This is more of like a deeper option. The Panthers have been getting gashed this season. I mean, the Buccaneers, you saw Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones, I won't say have a field day, but, well, no, they did. And Peyton Barber's mind, it was probably a field day. It was like a career day with 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. But and the fact that Duke Johnson is just he's not involved at all. Yeah, I think you could play Hyde and you could feel good about it.
All right, so let's move on to these running back sits. I'm gonna go ahead and take the lead on this one. I am sitting David Montgomery. He's somebody that he's just kind of been okay. He hasn't been paying out the way that fantasy owners were hoping. That he was actually getting drafted fairly high. In my opinion, like he was getting drafted like 3-4 rounds earlier than what I was going to pick him at. I wasn't a big fan of him going into it. He's just been kind of mediocre. They're going against Minnesota. The Bears are going against Minnesota this week, and I think he just gets shut down completely this week.
He reminds me of like Rashad Penny last year. Rashad Penny was getting drafted way too high. I mean, he was a first round pick, and Seattle they were talking him up and all this stuff. I know they were talking up Carson, but it's like, oh well, they spent a first round pick, so they're going to utilize him. I will say this about Montgomery: I do like the way he runs. I think he runs the ball hard. I think that the Bears' just offense in general has to get better in order for David Montgomery to really like hit his potential with this offense.
Yep. What do you got, Tyler? Who you sitting?
Oh, I'm gonna shock the world again. Todd Gurley.
Wow.
All right. I'm about to just hit you with facts, just like I did with Tom Brady. And this is what, if you have Todd Gurley right now, you need to trade him. Good job, Dan, trading him away.
Yeah.
Todd Gurley has not had 20 plus touches this year. Mm-hmm. All touches. He's broken 15 carries one time.
Yep.
And he's gotten close to 100 yards, but that was the first game of the season. The second game of the season, he got 63. In the third game, he got 43. This is what I'm going to say about Todd Gurley. Something's not right. He doesn't look like Todd Gurley. He had a good first game of the season, but after that, his numbers have diminished because he's not making the right cuts. That knee is bothering him. I've been telling everybody I would not touch him in the draft. I'm not touching him this season.
Yeah. Todd
Gurley does not look like Todd Gurley, and while he still has some name value, I would trade him. I would not keep him. They have a very tough, schedule, and they don't need Todd Gurley right now. Like when they need to actually have a bruiser, they're going to throw. They have 2 other running backs they can throw in.
Yeah.
And I mean, Todd Gurley's great, but I mean, they have a great passing attack too. So I just don't like Todd Gurley.
My question to you is: so it sounds like you're not buying into what come out a little bit after the last game. The coaches come out and said, "All right, he's averaged 15 carries a game. That's unacceptable. We want around 25 carries a game for him."
So here's
do you think, like, all I'm saying is, do you think that's just like
I think that's BS. I mean, they're going against Tampa Bay and everybody's
because I'm with you as well. Like, I think he's getting 15, because he's got 14, and 16 carries on the year. I think he's averaging 15 carries a game for a reason. I'm with you on this.
So I think he's playing Tampa Bay and everybody's probably like, oh, that's Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is a sneaky good defense for some reason.
Yeah.
They have the second hardest running defense.
They shut
in the
down
league.
Christian McCaffrey.
Like
almost.
and I think Todd Gurley's going to get shut down this week. He's going to probably come out and blow up and just make me eat my words. But I guarantee you, I'm telling you right now, he does not break 60 yards rushing this game.
Okay. Yeah, and I can't disagree with you. Especially, like I said, they shut Christian McCaffrey down.
So, and then after that, he plays Seattle, then he plays San Francisco, then he plays Atlanta. All those people, they're at least top 15 in rushing defense. Again, like they shut people down.
Against the running back.
So, and then he still plays, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, but then he plays Chicago, Baltimore, Arizona, Seattle, Dallas, and San Francisco. He has a tough schedule. That's why I'm trying to tell everybody, trade him while he still has some name recognition.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Duke Johnson is another sit that we're talking about.
Yeah, don't play him.
And then who was so Duke Johnson? Like I think it's going to be a Carlos Hyde game. Duke Johnson really hasn't done anything this year. Like sit Duke Johnson. And then who did you want to talk about, Dan?
Devontae Freeman. For two reasons. One, Ito Smith is active. When he's active, they split. I wouldn't say it's a 50-50. I think it's more of a 60-40. And the Tennessee Titans, their rush D is really good. If you date back to last year, they only allowed, 10 rushing touchdowns, including this year. So that's a total of 20 games, and they've only allowed 10 rushing touchdowns from the start of last year all the way up until this point. So, I think the way to beat
that's impressive.
It is, and I mean, if you really look at this year, I think the only game that they've really allowed rushing was against the Colts, and that's when Jordan Wilkins had like a 55-yard run. So it kind of inflated that number a little bit. But look, that Thursday night game against the Jaguars, they held Leonard Fournette to I don't know how many carries to -3 yards, and then he broke that 69-yard run.
Yeah, that was bad. Like he had, I had him in one of my leagues, and it was just ugly. And then all of a sudden, towards the end of the game, he gets a 69-yard run that just salvages his whole name because he ends up getting 10 points in that league.
Yep.
No matter how much I dislike the Tennessee Titans, they have a very good run defense.
Yep.
And you cannot go against what they do against Colts, because the Colts, I think it's just their kryptonite. They just allow a whole bunch of points, a whole lot of rushing yards. But Tennessee against everybody else is pretty much a very good running defense.
Yeah.
So I really like that sit.
All right, so let's move on to the wide receiver starts. Go ahead and take this one away, Dan.
Let's see. Where do we start? There is a lot of people.
We do. We have a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of that mid-tier. I mean, obviously you're starting your top guys, but for instance, I mean, Kansas. I mean, we talked a lot about the Chiefs. I mean, you're starting pretty much your Kansas City wide receivers. But one name that I'm going to mention is Christian Kirk. He leads the Cardinals in targets. They're going to be at home against Seattle. I think Seattle's banged up a little bit in their secondary. And I've talked about this a lot on this podcast. I just love.
You also talked about before we actually went on that and started recording. You like Kyler Murray as a start as well.
I do because look, they're 0-3. Well, no, they're not 0-3. They're 0-2-1. They're looking for their first victory.
They're 0-3.
Yeah, they should be. I just think Kyler Murray is he's coming to his own a little bit, and I just love that pace of play that they play at compared to what they were last year. I like Christian Kirk. I even like Larry Fitzgerald too. I just like this offense this week against the Seahawks.
On the opposite side of the ball there, I like DK Metcalf this week. I think he's going to have a big game. He's been doing okay. He's been having solid weeks in and out. I think averaging close to 8 points a game, something like that. I think he gets double digit, points this game. I think he's going to be, a sneaky start this week.
I can't disagree with that. A guy like it's Marvin Jones. Dan was talking about it. It's going to be a high scoring game, and I think Matthew Stafford is going to throw the ball. And he's going to throw it to Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay, and I think Marvin Jones is going to see a lot less coverage than Kenny Golladay. So,
all right, we're going to talk about this one more time. Kansas City Chiefs.
We already talked about that.
Huh?
We already talked about that.
No, they're
Dan talked about that
when?
right before he said Christian Kirk.
Did you say?
I did. I just mentioned him briefly.
Oh,
yeah.
you just brushed on them and moved on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad. I was looking down on my phone. I guess.
He said, and I quote, "You're going to start all of your Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers."
My bad, y'all. My bad. Sterling Shepard. I know Dan brought this one up. What, you want to talk about Sterling Shepard?
Yeah, sure. So, we talked about Golden Tate on the Monday podcast about the suspension.
Yeah.
So he'll be back. So is it 3 games or 4 games? I can't remember. I think
He had a 4-game suspension.
4 game. Okay, so Sterling Shepard was primarily playing the slot, which is where he succeeds most of the time. And my Redskins, they look pitiful right now. Yeah, Sterling Shepard, man, like if Danny Dimes is for real, then you should have no like issues. Like, I mean, you should be confident playing Sterling Shepard.
Yeah.
Especially against the Redskins.
And if he's playing Terry McLaurin, he's almost weekly starter. Like, he's getting there. He's just getting targeted so much. Him and Case Keenum got a connection. And honestly, to tell you the truth, what's going on with Colt McCoy? Is it going to be Colt McCoy or is it going to be Dwayne Haskins if Case Keenum loses that job? No idea.
I
No
hope
one
it's
knows.
Haskins.
Nobody knows.
I hope.
Now, if Case Keenum goes down or he gets replaced and Dwayne Haskins is now the starter, let's not forget Dwayne Haskins and Terry McLaurin had a big connection in college. Like, they both come out this year out of Ohio State, both of them.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't see that target dropping any with Dwayne Haskins compared to Case Keenum.
Now, if McLaurin, he has been battling
Yes.
an injury. If he
he's
does
playing.
not play, if you're going to start any wide receiver from the Redskins, start Paul Richardson.
Absolutely, yes. Good point on that. Yes, if they come in and say that he's out, yeah, you're definitely going to want to start Paul Richardson.
Yeah.
You know, you got to start somebody against this Giants defense. So,
Sits.
let's go ahead. Yeah, let's jump into our sets for the wide receiver. You got a little bit of a shocker here, Tyler. Let's
You've
go
been
ahead and jump
shocking
into
the
that
world.
one. You're just shocking the world with everything.
Stephon Diggs. I don't think that's really a shocker. A lot of people, just because the Redskins, I think the Redskins, they were just shocked that the Redskins could actually pass the ball. I think the Bears were looking towards next week. They got a big rivalry matchup against the Vikings. And Stephon Diggs has not been producing. Adam Thielen, I actually said before the podcast, said all Vikings wide receivers, just because, I mean, like Dan said, they rush the ball more than 60% of the time. And they're not passing the ball enough to almost even produce a number one wide receiver. So, with that being said, if I don't think they're producing a number one wide receiver from targets, it means Adam Thielen's a number 2, Diggs is going to be number 3, and I just don't see you starting a number 3 because there's a lot of other people out there I would start, especially Diggs going up against the Chicago Bears.
All right. One I want to talk about real fast is Jarvis Landry going against Baltimore. Jarvis is almost to the point where he's, you know, on your bench permanently.
I hate it, too.
He's got the name and he's got the talent
He's good, too.
to stay on a team, but, like, how do you comfortably start Jarvis Landry?
So you don't. I'm a Jarvis Landry owner.
Yeah.
I mean, I played him in my flex week 1. After that, I've made
He's
a
just been on
couple.
your
I've made
bench.
literally one trade, but I have other people I start over. I started Miles Sanders over him.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders produces better than Jarvis Landry, and that's not saying much.
Yeah, he's just and going against Baltimore. I don't see it. I don't see this being the game that he breaks out and does something. Dan, both of these, the next two are your picks.
Yeah.
You want to go ahead and talk about them?
Allen Robinson is my first. Going up against Xavier Rhodes. I know the Bears, they had a little bit of life Monday night with their offense, but I think this game is just going to kind of be, you know, just a grinded out type of game. It's not going to be much scoring in my opinion. It's just a tough matchup. I would play a lot of receivers over Allen Robinson. The next guy is Chris Godwin, my boy. He popped up on the injury report this week. playing the Rams, and I said earlier that the Rams, with Aqib Talib on the field, they allow less than one passing touchdown per game. If he was healthy, I mean, I'd still start him confidently, but with him being hurt and with the tough matchup, I think it warrants at least you should consider sitting him.
All right, yeah. So let's go ahead and move on just real fast. Let's just blurt out a few names for the tight end starts. Like always, we have a hard time even suggesting sitting a tight end because, you're looking at guys that you're happy with a 5-point start from a tight end. Like if you're streaming them, you're happy with getting 5 points out of them.
Yeah,
they did their job for that moment. So tight end, of course, Waller. We might be done talking about him as a start. He's your week in, week out starter, kind of like a Ertz and Mark Andrews. And,
he's number 3 on the year.
Number 3
tight end scoring, yeah, and half point PPR.
Yeah, T.J. Hockenson, I know that's your boy there, Tyler. He's had a couple off games here. Does he bounce back?
I'm playing against Kansas City. You got to.
Yeah, against Kansas City, you got to put him in. Eric Ebron, that's a big one this week because of T.Y. Hilton being out. You definitely want to start Eric Ebron. And then Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis is one of those streamer, like, a lot of people picking him up, a lot of people starting him week in and week out.
Oh, man, machine right there.
Yeah, right?
I like all that. I'm actually, in my PPR league, in my Dynasty league, I have in my flex Darren Waller, and in my tight end position, I have Eric Ebron.
Good night.
That's where I'm rolling with this.
That could be a big week for you, though. Eric Ebron could catch 2 touchdowns this week.
I got Tyler Lockett and Christian McCaffrey, too, so let's get it.
Nice. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Dan's favorite segment.
Yes.
Fantasy Stud of the Past. You got a good one for us here, Dan?
It was 1978.
Nope. 2014. Not even going that far back.
Oh, there's no excuse.
Yeah, there is no excuse for us on this one.
Yeah, and it's still going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be tough. Look, it's a running back. AFC. So 2014, he was actually a rookie. Okay. He was a 1,000-yard rusher, 9 touchdowns, and he only started in half the games played.
Say it again. Sorry.
So he was a rookie running back, played in the AFC. I'll say the AFC North.
It was Trent Richardson.
No,
it wasn't. It wasn't Trent Richardson because that was earlier.
He was 1,100 yards, 9 rushing touchdowns. Started in half the games, and in those games he had 500-yard rushing games, including the final 3 games of the year.
So 2014
AFC North rookie running back. So pretty much the reason why he started because the starting running back got hurt. So they vaulted him to the starting running back, and he just took off. And he was pretty much a league winner in fantasy football, including I benefited from that.
That wasn't the year Le'Veon
Bell if you remember,
drafted, was it?
If you remember, Mike, I benefited from that.
So you benefited from it.
Yeah.
In 2014?
2014.
Was that the year Le'Veon Bell got drafted?
No.
2004 AFC North rookie running back. Came out of LSU.
Why am I blanking
on this?
If
I played for the Ravens?
No, if I say the team name, I'll probably guess it. But
I want to.
Well, take a guess if you.
Hold on.
Was that
not the Ravens? And it wasn't your team, right?
Okay.
It wasn't the Browns. Le'Veon Bell didn't get hurt.
Oh, you benefited. Yeah. Oh, why did I? That was Cincinnati. It wasn't Gio. It was
Jeremy Hill.
Yeah, Jeremy Hill.
Yeah.
Good night. Yeah. Like that. So
I probably should have said that he's not on a team right now.
Yeah, like I don't know why I blanked so bad on that one. I couldn't. It was 2014. It was just a few years ago.
I was just trying to think of like rookie running backs in 2014. I'm like, I think Le'Veon Bell got drafted that year.
Yeah. And I should have got it as soon as you said I benefited from it. So Dan was in a terrible situation.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking. You needed. There were 6 weeks left in the season, right?
7 weeks.
7 weeks left. He needed to win out to squeak into the playoffs. Like you were. Did you even have a win at that point?
I believe I was 1-5.
So 1-5. he needed to win out to have a prayer at the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he made this deal with Brian. So you gave Brian Aaron Rodgers?
No, I gave him Gio Bernard and Cam Newton.
That's right. And he gave you Aaron Rodgers and Jeremy Hill.
He gave me Aaron Rodgers, and it was like a backup running back for the Falcons.
That's right, because you already had Jeremy Hill.
Had Jeremy Hill, yeah.
Literally, Dan texted me that night. I'll never forget, because I was going into Burlington Coat Factory. I don't know why I remember that, but he texted me. He was like, "Man, I don't know about this trade. Like, I'm really banking on Jeremy Hill taking over the position." I was like, "Dude, you're nuts. Like, that's not going to happen." And it happened. And Dan went on this crazy run. He won all 7 games, ran through the playoffs, and won the championship that year.
Yeah, and
all due to the fact of, for some weird reason, he thought Jeremy Hill was going to take over the starting position.
Yeah,
and guess what? He did.
But when you're 1-5, like you're just throwing darts. I just hope you get a bullseye.
I'm not too far off of that. I'm 0-3 in that league. I'm third in scoring in that league, and I have third in scoring. I've scored the third most points in that league, and I'm 0-3. I did the math. I already did all the math. If I played anybody else's schedule in the whole league, it doesn't matter whose schedule I played, I would have at least one win.
That's crazy. And some schedules you'd be 3-0.
And 4 schedules in the league, I'd be 3-0. If I played 4 schedules in the league.
Well, you've got your schedule, and you're
yes, I got my schedule, and I got to deal with it, and I'm 0-3, man.
In our league right now, I think Phil's in last place, and I'm close right behind him.
I'm second to last.
He's second to last.
I think I'm third and last.
Yeah, and I'm
You're
doing all right. I got 2 losses, but the one I got a good team. I got a good team in that league.
Well, to be honest with you, it's a weird fantasy year right now.
It is.
It's so I don't know what it is. Like, you got guys like Devontae Freeman, Todd Gurley, Jarvis Landry, Chris Godwin, Stephon Diggs, Jameis Winston. People like Baker Mayfield that we're telling you to sit right now.
Yeah.
But we're talking about starting Case Keenum, Carlos Hyde, and
Terry McLaurin,
Sterling Shepard, and Christian Kirk.
But it's it's fantasy football. This is what happens every year. Every year, it's a weird year. Something happens. That's just the way it is. The thing that you can just hope for is that your team stays healthy. Your starters, your big name guys stay healthy, and that you can score on those waiver wire pickups. You can score on those free agency pickups. Like I say, every week, if you have somebody that's just like a droppable player, pick up a flyer right before Sunday.
Yeah.
Right before the Sunday 1:00 games, look at something, pick up somebody's backup.
Yep.
Because you just never know when somebody gets hurt or somebody just takes over a starting position. So
I've got a really bad feeling about Dalvin Cook this week too, and I can't even pick up Alexander Madison, and I'm so depressed right now.
All right, so do you guys got anything else before we get off here?
No. Thank you for listening.
All right, that's all that we have. Thank you for listening. Make sure you join in Sunday to our Facebook Live. Get all your start and sit and lineup information live on Facebook. Ask your questions and everything, and we'll be there answering them all the way up to the 1:00 games. Thank you for all the love and support. Have a good day.
Deuces.